Hello, it's Dr. Martha, and this is my podcast, Energy Medicine Woman. Today's podcast is called Tips for Helping You Stay Positive and Healthy During Stressful Times. This particular podcast is being recorded during the pandemic, so for many, many people, it is very stressful. By the way, my website is acupuncturewoman.com. My business is called Your Wellness with Dr. Martha because I am available to you via telehealth or telemedicine wherever you live. I am very happy to be sharing a lot of acupressure techniques with people, Chinese medicine talk therapies, various self-hypnosis techniques that are also available on acupuncturewoman.com. So there is help for you. I am available to be helping you no matter where in the world you live. All right, let's get on to this idea of tips for staying happy and healthy, or at least positive and healthy during a pandemic. The reason I'm doing this is because a lot of people are experiencing a lot of uncertainty right now, a lot of disarray in their lives, some people in their business life and their personal life. Perhaps you've had a family member who's been affected by the COVID pandemic. So I want to talk about some things that we actually do have control over. And it may seem trite for someone to say, well, you still have control over your attitude. But the bottom line is you do, for the most part, have control over your attitude. For example, the other day I was with my husband and one of my grandchildren, and it was a beautiful day out. We were sitting on a bench, and it happened to be up by his house where there is kind of a view of the foothills and the mountains behind them. And I looked at my husband and I said, this is one of those perfect moments. And I meant it. I felt calm inside. I felt gratitude. It just was truly one of those moments where if I had missed that calm, that happiness, just feeling great in that moment and just felt anxious the whole time, I would have missed a very nice, happy moment. So I know it's a Buddhist thing. We do try to say, and even Chinese medicine, be in the moment, because if you think about the past, there's generally a lot of grief, regret, chastising yourself that you could have done it better. Typically speaking, when we think about the future, it's anxiety, more like what's going to happen, and then a lot of catastrophizing. So let's talk today a little bit about how some people say that life is 10% what happens to you and about 90% how you react to it. So let's talk a little bit about that today. Now, obviously, to stay healthy, we already have rules in place, right? Physically distancing. That does not mean we have to be emotionally or socially distanced, though, right? I do prefer the phrase physically distance, because again, I can be physically distant but still be socially and emotionally available. For example, we're physically distant right now, but I am feeling like I am able to be emotionally and socially available for you. So a lot of people have found a lot of creative ways to be socially together with their families. Like we've even done it with some of our family members, play these online games, and it's fun. You get to see each other. When I was young and moved away from my parents, we didn't have FaceTime or anything like that. We had to write letters. We called each other once a week because long distance phone calls were expensive, and we wrote letters. So we are very, very blessed right now to be able to see each other in person, even though it's on a screen. So meeting up with video conferencing and that sort of thing, creating some sort of fun thing you can do is going to be helpful. Another thing you can do is just pick up the phone, call some loved ones, call a friend you haven't talked to in a long time. We can still do the old-fashioned thing of sending cards and sending a postcard, or these days we do a lot of emailing, but people like to get mail. I think honestly, these days people would be more likely to look at a mail piece that you send them, a physical mail piece, than they would an email. I still kept some letters from a woman that I called my other mother when I moved to Louisville, Kentucky. She used to write me letters, and I still kept some of them because it's just so touching. So anyway, also, maybe something nice to do would be make a COVID-19 care package and send that to a loved one, or drop it off at one of your neighbors' porches. If you know someone, I know that one of my children lives near a couple that's kind of, well, they're not kind of, they're pretty much homebound. Well, make them a little COVID-19 package. Put some food in there or some wipes in there, something that you think would give them some joy during this time when they are having to stay inside. Or visit them on their front porch. Go up and knock on the door and stand back with your mask on and tell them, hey, we just came to see you, and say hi, how are you doing? Stand, physically distant away, but still be able to talk to them. They already do things like shovel their sidewalk, but you're getting my point. Get out there and see some people and talk to some people, and you can still do it physically distanced and with masks on. So that's kind of helping take care of others, which, by the way, is also part of taking care of yourself, right? When you do things like that for other people, you fill yourself up emotionally. So doing things for other people fosters positivity in you. And one of my other podcasts talks about psychological resilience in the form of self-compassion. Well, you doing positive things for other people, being empathetic and compassionate, builds up your own psychological resilience for having compassion for yourself. Compassion for yourself to be able to say, I feel bad, and I'm going to own that. I'm going to process that and take care of myself. So some of the things you can do for your own self to foster this positive feeling is some positive self-talk. I think a lot of us tend to do a lot of negative self-talk. In fact, it turns out psychologists know that during the pandemic, more people are actually talking to themselves, actually talking to ourselves out loud. Well, why not have that be positive self-talk? Why would it always have to be negative? So do some positive self-talk. Write down your strengths, or, we hear a lot about starting a gratitude journal. What am I grateful for today? I have this paper that I do that a person I'm working with on marketing told me part of it is it's called a brain dump. And so it's a brain dump of the things I'd like to get done today, the things I should get done today, the things I want to get done today. And there's a section for affirmations. So even I've just started this thing of chalk drawing on my front sidewalk. Okay, well, one of my affirmations might be, today I'm going to draw hopscotch on my sidewalk and a smiley face. So making little things like that for yourself, little hopes, little goals. Sometimes what people need to do is reminisce about positive things that have happened in the past. Lots of people like to, for example, look at pictures, look at vacation pictures. A lot of us have pictures come up on our laptops. On my laptop screen, I have it's attached to my photos where every day a new one comes up. Well, they're all happy, all positive, make you smile when you look at them. So things like that. If you need to have a meltdown every once in a while, I alluded to that a couple minutes ago about self-compassion. You're allowed to have a meltdown. You are allowed to feel sad. You are allowed to feel stressed. And you need to process that. A lot of my patients will say to me, those homeless people, they have it so much worse than I do. I shouldn't feel bad. Well, you know what? They do have it a lot worse than you do. That is true. That's a sad state of the world. but you also are struggling. If you are struggling and you are sad, you need to process that. It's okay. Honor that. We are all allowed to feel bad. We don't have to make ourselves feel guilty because someone else has it worse off than we do. So again, if you need to melt down, it's okay. It happens to everybody every once in a while. You need a good cry, just go ahead and do it. It's important for you to express that. In Chinese medicine, if we don't express our emotions, we believe, and it's been said by the masters for 4,000 years, that eventually you holding in your emotions can lead to some physical symptoms. For example, the lungs hold grief. And I worked with a woman a few years ago who had this chronic cough and nobody could find anything wrong with her. All the doctors said her lungs were normal, and she managed to get addicted to codeine, because that was back in the day where you could just go to like 3 different pharmacies and get things filled. And so when I was feeling her pulses, because that's how I do some diagnosis, I asked her if she had any grief she had not processed, and she said no. And her daughter, who brought her, because she was a little bit older, shook her head yes and said, my sister died from breast cancer a few months ago and my mother will not cry about it. Okay, well, there's your cough. The grief stuck in your lungs, probably can't take a deep breath. So according to Chinese medicine, it is very important to express your emotions. If you're angry and you need to just go out, not be angry with any particular person, but you need to just go outside and yell your anger or yell in a pillow or whatever, this is very, very important for you. Another thing is, don't forget to relax now and then, okay? Some people, especially business owners, may tend to work 24/7. Well, it's important to take some relaxation time. It's important to get a little bit away from that, get out, enjoy the nature, spend some time with your family, just spend some time with yourself, enjoying some activities. Maybe you start a hobby or create something new, anything to get you feeling in a relaxed state, a little bit away from work. So in other words, take a break, take a personal break, take a break from expectations. That's another thing. Oh, I should do this, I should do that, I should. Nope, you know what? Take a break from all that. So you can make lists of this stuff. You can make lists of what I need to get done, what I like doing, what are my 3 favorite things to have fun doing, what are the ways I like to relax. It's kind of like I counsel people about diet and exercise, not diet, nutrition and exercise. And we figure out what they like, what kind of nutrition kind of program do they like, what foods do they like, how are we going to work that all into a program where they can get the body they love, eat in a way that they love, exercise in a way that they love. So these are all possible. So, you know, last but not least, in times like this where we have to be careful, you know, wash your hands, do everything you would do to avoid the regular flu, right? Sometimes during flu season, people are extra careful, right? You see signs up all over doctors' offices and in bathrooms, make sure you wash your hands, try to keep your hands clean and away from your face, take care of your immune system, take your vitamin D, take vitamin C, take some zinc. Right now, you know, what I have my family all on and myself are those: vitamin D, zinc, vitamin C. We take some CoQ10. I, of course, am taking some Chinese herbs for my lungs because I have asthma. So I'm doing a preemptive strike on the lungs. So I'm keeping the lungs healthy. So build and maintain your healthy immune system. Again, if you have questions about that, feel free to contact me through my website, acupuncturewoman.com. And then, you know, stay hydrated. I like to remind everybody that viruses like a dehydrated body. They're not so great at getting in a body that's very, very well hydrated. So stay hydrated. This means you have to drink water. Your coffee in the morning isn't enough, or if you drink a lot of caffeinated beverages during the day, those sorts of things don't count as water. So stay hydrated, take the supplements you need to the supplements you need to take to keep your immune system strong. Work on getting enough sleep. There is help for you if you can't get enough sleep, if you have anxiety. There are different self-hypnosis kinds of things you can do, meditations before you go to sleep. You know, meditation is just focus. If you just need to focus for a few minutes every night before you go to bed on a candle or on a prayer, or, you know, even on a light, or looking at the stars in the sky, anything that kind of focuses you a little bit away from thinking about what's causing your anxiety. And like, for example, myself, since the pandemic started, every morning before my feet hit the floor, I send Reiki to the whole world, because I'm a Reiki master and I do distant healing. And that is actually what partly helps me to calm down in the morning before I start my day, because I am receiving Reiki because I am giving long distance Reiki. So I'm benefited from that. And also, I'm focused on giving. I'm focused on, in fact, giving without even expectation of receiving anything, right? Because whoever benefits from that long distance Reiki I'm sending, I don't know it. My intention is always for healing the world. And if even one person feels better, gets better, has a better day, it's worth it for me. And as I said, whenever Reiki masters give a Reiki treatment, we also are receiving a Reiki benefit from that. So you can figure something out. Like I said, if you need any help, I am happy to be here for you. So those are some tips on staying healthy and positive during stressful times. Again, it's Dr. Martha Lucas. My website is Acupuncture Woman. You can find me on Instagram, also Your Wellness with Dr. Martha. And please take care and stay well.